You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marchegiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Dr. J's here. Evan, what's going on, man? How was your weekend?
Oh, weekend was good as always. Hannah, my wife, showed me a picture. You were out there water skiing. She was like, is he freezing? I said, I don't know. I'm going to have to ask him.
Oh, man, it was phenomenal. I mean, it was like maybe 65. I mean, it's cold when you're in colder water and you come up and the air hits it. But I had like a 3 to 4 millimeter wetsuit, and I'm getting waterproof gloves and socks for next week. But I plan on water skiing every weekend of the year that I'm here in Austin. So throughout January as well. That's
impressive. Who drives your boat?
Oh, I got one of my buddy here in Austin as well. He skis as well, so we both kind of just take turns. He'll drive, nice. I'll pull him, and then vice versa.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude,
I'm proud of you for getting out there and practicing what you preach. Getting sunshine, getting movement, getting immersed in the elements of the earth and water and sunshine. That's great.
Totally. And also, you get the cold water thermogenesis going, which has some really good health benefits, activating that good brown fat, really upregulates the metabolism. A lot of good HPA axis stimulation when you're exposed to cold like that. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Well,
We're going to chat about immune health, immune function. You know, this time of the year, everybody starts coughing and getting sick. It makes you paranoid, makes you want to wear a mask everywhere you go, which I don't do, but I want to stay healthy. I don't want to get sick. So that's a big topic that we can hit on. Oh, look, speaking of, Samuel just commented, he just got over the flu. So there we go.
Look at that. Exactly. So I got an article we'll talk about here today. It's called What to Do When You Get Sick, Part 1 and Part 2. So if you go to my page here, you can grab that link by putting the, what to do when you get sick in the search bar. We'll put links to below these in the podcast as well as the YouTube videos so you can access any of the things, any supplements or any products or any material really easy to access for you. So we'll make sure that's put in the reference section down below.
All right. So I think we should hit the food sensitivity immune piece. I feel like a lot of people, if we use the immune system bucket analogy, a lot of people have their bucket full already due to food sensitivity. So do you want to open up the conversation on that?
Yeah, so one of the big things is glucose and vitamin C. They look very, very similar to the body. So when you take excess amounts of sugar, especially refined sugar, and you increase your blood sugar, that can actually have effects on decreasing vitamin C absorption or decreasing vitamin C activation. So vitamin C binds to receptor sites on the macrophage and helps with, the stress of dealing with infections or you're basically little Pac-Man and women gobbling up crap inside your bloodstream. And vitamin C is important. And if you have a lot of sugar in there, that's going to impede vitamin C from doing its thing. And sugar also has effects on suppressing the immune system, where they've looked at vitamin C absorption or vitamin C activation over a time period. And you can see that you have significant immune decrease when you're consuming refined sugar, especially excess amounts of refined sugar. And don't forget that refined carbohydrates or more starchier carbs can convert to sugar. So if you're more on the insulin resistant side, that even too much starch could really throw you off for sure.
Yep. What about the testing aspect of immune health. I mean, you've got your conventional doctors where they'll run things like your white blood cells, where we can see things that get affected if someone's have like a chronic virus or something that's affecting their immune system. We'll see like the white blood cell count drop. What else could we see conventionally? Would like the HSCRP, would that be valuable as a immune marker, or is that just going to be completely in another ball field due to its inflammation?
So if
nature?
we're talking like an acute, like winter flu kind of thing, you really don't have time to do a lot of testing. I find that the faster you act on whatever is going on, the greater chance you have of reducing getting sick. So of course we have the diet and lifestyle components, right? We have get more sleep. Your immune system sucks up a ton of energy. So when you're trying to kill a bacteria or a virus, you really want to make sure your immune system has extra reserve. So get more sleep because you'll be more tired. Number 2, decrease the refined sugar and excess carbohydrates from your diet, especially grains and refined sugar and alcohol, right? Number 3, I would say once we have the stress and the sleep and the diet on board, which is kind of like everything, we would then move towards supplements. And of course, we have one of our favorite things is medicinal mushrooms. So I'm a big fan of reishi or cordyceps. You could even do chaga as well. Doing these at 1 to 2 caps per hour or 2 is a phenomenal way to boost up and upregulate your immune system.
Yeah, I take mushrooms pretty much every day. I've been doing an adrenal tincture. That's ashwagandha, reishi. It's got chaga, cordyceps. I basically take all of it together. I wanted to hit on the piece of vitamin D. Many people get their vitamin D check with their conventional docs and their levels are at 20 or 30, and that's just not high enough. And we had a question here from Prince about vitamin D from eggs and fish. Is that enough, or do we need to supplement? Or no, he didn't ask that. He said, do we need exposure to sunlight? Yes, of course, if you can get exposure to sunlight, that's great, but there is such thing as a vitamin D winter. So if you're at a northern latitude like in Pittsburgh, you're not going to get much vitamin D from the sun. So maybe an hour a day. So a lot of times it does take supplementation. Dr. Mercola, he prides himself on not having to supplement with vitamin D, but he lives on the beach in southern Florida, and he is out for 3 hours a day walking on the beach almost naked. So he's one exception where he can omit supplementation, but for most of us, that's what it's going to take to get us into that optimal level. And we know when we're talking about flus and colds and all that, if vitamin D is not at that optimal range, that can be a huge factor.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So off the bat, there's a couple of things here. So we talked about vitamin D. Makes a big difference. One of the things we do is we'll do vitamin D 100,000 IUs, which is a lot of vitamin D, for 3 days. That really upregulates your immune system and upregulates these antimicrobial enzymes called cathelicidin, and they gobble up bacteria. So high dose vitamin D is one thing I do. We'll do the medicinal mushrooms called reishi. Reishi or cordyceps. I formulated a blend called Immuno Supreme, and that's a good blend that's got monolaurin in there. I have a monolaurin supreme as well that you can use by itself. Monolaurin's nice because it can gobble up viruses. It digests the viral envelope. It's kind of like viruses use the viral envelope, so the immune system can't see them. It's kind of like in Harry Potter when they puts on the invisibility cloak. No one can see him, but when it's off, you can see him. Well, same kind of thing with your immune system. Viruses have their own invisibility cloak, and the monolaurin helps break it down. We'll add in the reishi or the medicinal mushrooms like the reishi, the cordyceps, or the chaga, right? Those are super, super helpful. They get the immune system upregulated. I talked about the vitamin D, 100,000 IUs, and I'll also make note of the vitamin C. We'll get the vitamin C up pretty high as well, maybe 8,000 milligrams, 9,000 milligrams, which is equal to 8 or 9 grams daily, just below bowel tolerance.
So the monolaurin, would you use that more like a spot treatment if something comes up, or are you saying you may even do that throughout a winter season?
Great question. So off the bat, let's kind of like break things down into symptoms, or let's just kind of give you like a general scenario. So this morning I woke up, my throat's a little bit dry. So my wife had the heat on a little bit higher in the house. Sometimes the heat could do it. So I'm kind of like, I'm on a high alert. So of course I'm smashing my adaptogens, right? I'm hitting up a lot of ashwagandha right now. I'm going to go crush some vitamin D in a bit. And I'm also going to go juice some fresh ginger. I'm also drinking some apple cider vinegar drinks. And I kind of do some apple cider vinegar shots throughout the day because that really grabs a lot of the mucus off the back of my throat, which is helpful. I'm going to go make some fresh ginger tea, ginger is shown to have positive effects at knocking down biofilms, and it has effects at preventing viruses from adhesing onto the various cell walls. So it keeps the viruses from sticking, so to speak, and it really helps the immune system against viral activation, and it helps the lymphatics. So it keeps things moving. Better lymphatics is going to help my macrophages, the little Pac-Man and woman of your body gobbling up crap, right? So that's helpful. So doing those things, the apple cider vinegar, the ginger tea, the vitamin D, and of course, I start to slam the mushrooms too, because the medicinal mushrooms get your immune system like upregulated. It's like taking the army, right, or the snipers and putting them all on high alert. They're all like perched above, right? They're looking down. They're looking for anything that comes out to move, right? So that's kind of what I look at as the medicinal mushrooms are doing. It's really getting the immune system ready.
Now, how about monolaurin? How would you compare and contrast that? Do you cycle on? Do you cycle off? I mean,
it's a great question.
What's your take?
In Immunosupreme, we put monolaurin in there. So there's a little bit in there, but it's not going to be at like a therapeutic level where if you were to take it by itself. So if you have a sneaking suspicion that there's a virus going around, right? And there's some kind of virus that's in the area, your kids bring it home, you just know, right? It's flu. You're thinking it's a virus issue. Then number 1, I'd be hitting the ginger tea. Number 2, I'd be using the Immunosupreme. Okay. Number 3, you can add an additional medicinal mushroom. Okay. Number 4, you can throw in some silver, and number 5, you can throw in some monolaurin by itself. I'll typically do between 2 to 5 things depending on what's going on. So number 1, if I'm under a lot of stress and I start getting sick, then I'm like, crap, I need to really hit it hard because I know my immune system's more stressed. If I'm more relaxed and there's not a lot of stress going on and I'm sleeping really good, and I may just choose 2 or 3 things to start with. So, and if I know people around me are coming down with the flu, then I'll hit more things to help with the flu. Silver, medicinal mushrooms, and then of course I'll hit the monolaurin by itself, a couple of grams a day. 3-4 grams a day.
I like turkey tail. I wanted to mention turkey tail mushrooms. I've been using those a lot too, and also astragalus. We love astragalus, so I use it almost every day.
Astragalus is one of those herbs that kind of has an adaptogenic effect, and it cleanses the blood too, and I will use that by itself. So I have like 5 or 6 things in my medicine cabinet. I just stocked up last week ordering like 3 or 4 bottles of reishi. Come the holiday season, I actually start adding in medicinal mushrooms that support my immune system at a low dose. I'll do about 3 caps a day. And then if I start to feel anything, that goes from 3 to 12.
Yeah, that's good. We got a question about glutathione IV for a healthy woman in her 40s. Is it worth it, and how often should I get it? I'll speak on it first and hear your take, Justin. I've seen hundreds of times on the organic acids test, and there's actually some literature on this, that if you're taking your precursors for glutathione, like your N-acetylcysteine or your vitamin C, even in oral form, that you can actually boost up glutathione. So needing an IV, if you say you're a healthy woman, I just think it's overkill. And it's probably not necessary unless you just had some crisis thing going on and you needed a quick IV for it.
Great point, Evan. So let me kind of lay it out. There's 2 scenarios, right? Scenario number 1 is you're working with a functional medicine doctor and there's a long-term plan. From a long-term strategy, glutathione IVs are very expensive over a long term. I mean, if you're looking at like $30, $40 an IV and you're doing that a couple times a week, long term, it's not a really good cost-effective solution. I'd much rather be using glutathione precursors and or liposomal glutathione over a long-term kind of functional medicine program. Okay. Number 1, if it's used punctuated wise because you're in the middle of a heavy metal cleanse, or you have a lot of mold issues in your home and you're using it because there's a punctuated circumstance, or you're traveling and you decided to go to one of these natural clinics and get an IV because you're traveling and you're under stress, that's fine. Punctuated, short-term, specific reasons it makes sense. Over a long term, I don't think it's the most cost effective because number 1, you're getting stuck every day. Number 2, it's a little bit expensive. You're better off using the precursors and the liposomal glutathione more over the long term. But I still see value in it, and I kind of just outlined those scenarios why.
Yep, for sure. I'd say can we zoom out a bit? Let's do like a 30,000-foot view of other things that could be affecting or suppressing someone's immune system, like dysbiosis in the gut, bacterial overgrowth, parasites, the candida issues, adrenal issues, heavy metal issues, liver detox problems. These are things that we see every single day in the clinic by running organic acids and stool testing. If you've got parasites or you've got chronic bacterial infections like H. pylori that's suppressing your ability to make stomach acid, you've got all this undigested food because of the H. pylori, that's affecting your gut barrier, creating leaky gut, therefore allowing the immune system to get under attack and create autoimmunity. So I think from like a high point view, outside of just the seasonal illness stuff, this time of the year, if you haven't approached and tested for your infections, your heavy metals, your detoxification markers, now's a good time.
Yeah, I think it's great. So, looking where you're at, I mean, most people, they're not going to stock their medicine cabinet up with maybe 5 things, but I'd say let's look at 2 things, right? So number one, I think the vitamin D is really important just because based on where the Earth's latitude, the angle of that is in this time of the year, it's lower or it's less direct. So you're going to have less UV exposure. So getting vitamin D is really hard. So getting the vitamin D up. And I went over the acute protocol for it, 100,000 IUs for 3 days. And then step number 2 is some kind of immune booster. So if you're just a regular everyday person and you're taking some adaptogens, like I'll just take more ashwagandha, which has great immune boosting benefits. Or if you want to add something in additionally, I recommend a higher dose vitamin C with bioflavonoids and or a medicinal mushroom. Or if you want a multitasker, in my line, Immunosupreme is a good one. And I'll put my link below. And I know you have a couple that you like in your line, Evan. We'll make sure we put the link for those too.
Speak on the testing. Let's talk about this. I mean, dysbiosis. If you've got gut infections, you've got parasites, bacterial overgrowth, like this is something in your bucket that you could take all the reishi in the world, but if you've got infections, you've got infections. You've got to take care of them.
Again, there's the zoom in, zoom out, right? So over the long picture, over the long run, big picture, we want to create a comprehensive functional medicine protocol that involves supporting the adrenals, fixing the gut, fixing the absorption, which then helps the detox, which then helps the immune system, right? So in the long run, this is ideal. Okay. But in the short run, people are like, hey, I want to be more natural. I want to be more holistic. I don't want to, get a vaccine or a flu shot or, be on a synthetic NyQuil or whatever these drugs are that just control the symptoms. I want to actually get healthier, but I don't have time to jump into a functional medicine program. I'm starting to feel down now. What the hell do I do? So the herbs that I mentioned are kind of like the quick fix in the short run. And of course, the easy things you can do in the short run too is cut all the sugar out, cut all the crap out, really increase nutrient density, maybe more bone broth, ginger tea, right? Lots of good greens, those kind of things, lots of good healthy meats and fats. That's, the diet stuff, the sugar stuff. And then we talked about a couple of supplement stuff. And in the long run, the goal would be to get you on a functional medicine plan where we address all the other barriers that you mentioned that would enhance the immune system over the long run.
For sure. I would give a couple other mentions too. Zinc can be helpful. You don't have to go super high with zinc. You could do 15, maybe even 30 milligram of a zinc. And then there's also some elderberry, which you don't necessarily have to do long term. And then echinacea too. You could bump some echinacea up for a couple of weeks. And zinc, echinacea, elderberry. I've even seen your bee pollens or your bee propolis can be pretty cool. Sometimes people are doing a little bit of the manuka honeys, but sometimes it can be abused. So I think those are a couple good herbs.
We're trying to provide a lot of great info about, actionable info. And again, a lot of people aren't doing this. So we're putting it out there so everyone can kind of listen and say, all right, what things, really resonate. And I'll put a link of some of these products that I provide. Evan can do the same as well. So if you want some things that we formulated and we personally use, you can check out what we have, or you can go look at your local health food store and see what is near you as well. But that gives you a pretty good perspective there. Of course, big picture is we want to get, fix the underlying issues. Short-term picture is here's some immune things that we can do to boost you up in the short run. So today, I already hit the reishi up, and I'm going to go hit some vitamin D up. I've already hit the ashwagandha up, and I'm going to also hit my Immunosupreme up as well, and I'll do the reishi again, 3 capsules around lunchtime, and I'll do it 3 around dinner and 3 before bed. So I'm doing 12 a day right now just to make sure I'm upregulated. And also, I got my bedtime set tonight for 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I'm going to sleep till probably 8, which is later than I normally do. So I'm going to get a good 9, 10 hours, 10 hours, I'd say, tonight to really make sure I recharge my body.
That sleep is free too. So that's always good. And it actually has a huge effect. You could take all the supplements in the world, but if your sleep's terrible and you're scrolling on Instagram till 2 a.m., that's bad. You're not going to be healthy. You've got to address the lifestyle too. You want to answer a couple questions here? We've got one about as we get deeper into winter, the temperature gets colder. What do you recommend for Raynaud's phenomenon, cold hands, body temperature?
Got to fix the Raynaud's phenomenon. That's typically associated with autoimmunity, where it creates a vasospasm in the extremities and the vasculature spasm, and then you don't get the blood flow there, so it gets colder. And you can make a motion on your finger, and it just stays there because there's not circulation. So typically there's a thyroid component or an autoimmune component. Seen these hundreds of times where we actually get to the root cause, and that tends to get better on its own. So that is going to be, there's the symptomatic approach, which is get some better gloves with some heat warmers in there. Root cause approach is functional medicine program that gets to the root cause, leaky gut, autoimmune, thyroid issues, for sure.
Yep. Well said. Question about root canals. Person had a root canal removed, taking antibiotics, suggestions on supplements to take after I'm done with antibiotics. I wish we could have prevented the root canal because there's a lot of issues with root canals, but you got it removed, so that's good. Suggestions on supplements to take after done with antibiotics. I mean, what's your take, Justin? I mean, there's so many
I would say
answers.
Definitely good quality probiotics. Ideally, we want to avoid root canals at all cost. And again, if we get ideally you want to have an extraction. You don't want the tooth to be there because it's basically like a diabetic who has a gangrenous limb, and you hollow out the bone, and then there's just a skin flap there. It's kind of like that, if you will. Because what happens is the tissue's there, the tooth's there, but the immune system for that tooth is now gone. The circulatory and the immune system is gone. So guess where bacteria and viruses tend to hide? They go where the immune system isn't. Right? They're pretty smart. They're stealthy, right? They've been around millions of years, and they have mechanisms to figure that out. So they're going to hide in that tooth cavity, and you're not going to be able to touch it because now the body doesn't have the capacity to reach the immune system that far. So
yeah, they're scary. Dental stuff is huge. We should probably get a couple functional dentists on the show.
I'm going to get mine in. Dr. Joan Sefcik, she's down in Austin. I'll get her in, and we'll chat about this. We've had a lot of talks about it, but in general, if you've had a root canal and it's still there, do some oil pulling to help act like a magnet to pull any crud that could be there. Look at a tooth meridian chart and see where that tooth's meridian's on, what meridian, what organ system or neurological pathway it's on, and see if there are any symptoms that you're dealing with that time up in regards to the root canal and those organ systems, and see if anything resonates there. And then number 3, try to get ahead of it and prevent it. If you're listening and you haven't gotten it, try to prevent it. But number 4, I would say potentially look for an extraction and then maybe a bridge option. So that way you at least have something in there that's, bacteria and viruses aren't going to be able to live in like a sterile ceramic or sterile surgical steel type of implant.
Yeah, but for this person had already taken the antibiotics, I would just say that you'd want to do
probiotics right now.
You would want to do the probiotics, and then I would say the leaky gut support too. So you and I both have leaky gut formulas that could be helpful. So things that have the slippery elm and the marshmallow root. I've got one called GI Soothe. What's your version
GI
called?
Restore is the one that I have that's similar, that has a lot of those healing nutrients. I would also be gargling with some silver. That'll kill any viruses. Gargle it for 1 to 2 minutes and then swallow. And that way it's going to be hitting in and around that area where the work was done. So if there's any infection, that would help for sure. Yep.
That's good advice. Supplement about HCl. Can you get an ulcer from HCl supplements?
If you have atrophic gastritis and your gut lining's already really thin and you're taking hydrochloric acid, it can definitely create irritation to the point, especially if you're trying to work it up to tolerance or you're trying to push it higher thinking that's better, then that could definitely create an issue there. So of course, number 1, if you're feeling burning or irritation, don't do that and back the dose off. And of course, take it with food. And then number 2 is add in some of the healing nutrients that Evan and I talked about, whether it's the GastroSoothe or the GI Restore, something that has an L-glutamine kind of herbal anti-inflammatory support formula will really help the gut lining.
Yeah,
Yes.
marshmallow, chamomile, deglycerinated
Yeah,
licorice.
aloe,
Those can all
slippery
help
elm, all
heal.
those things are great. A lot of L-glutamine, of course, bone broth and ginger tea is also great too.
Cool. Awesome. Well, good. Well, I think we hit it all. Riley had a question about the vagal tone essential oil. Yeah, it's helpful. Riley, it's an essential oil formula, and it works. So it's something else to have in the toolbox.
What are the herbs that are in there? Maybe frankincense or lavender.
I'd have to pull.
Yeah, let's
let me
pull it
see
up
if I'll
and see.
pull it up. That way I'm telling
I mean,
you.
a lot of these things, what they're really designed to do, like a lot of the essential oils, just help you relax a little bit better. And the more you're relaxed, meaning your nervous system kind of down regulates. There's a little bit less adrenaline flowing. Your heartbeat's a little slower. You can kind of relax. You start breathing a little bit deeper, and it shifts your nervous system into a parasympathetic type of state, which is the rest and repair. Rest and repair.
Yeah, would make sense. So this has got peppermint, Roman chamomile, nutmeg,
Lemon
Melissa,
balm.
so lemon balm, and ginger.
Ginger's really great. Good,
ginger.
You know, anti-inflammatory. Peppermint's great as well. Excellent for inflammation too. Really helps relax you. You mentioned chamomile's really good for the gut too. And then what else? Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things in there.
Did I say that one too? Yeah, I've sold quite a lot of it, so I mean, it's definitely a helpful thing. I don't think it's a miracle cure, but it's a good.
Is that a product that you provide?
It's a good thing to have. I do, yeah.
Oh,
It's
so you like
for
it?
Mio. Mio's who I get it. I'll send you. Yeah, I like it. It's good. I've got some at home. I use it. It's cool. I'll send you the link in.
I have one
in our
similar
Hangout
too.
chat so you can
I have one by doTERRA called Balance, which is good. And there's some other ones. I think On Guard's a really good immune boosting one. You can take a couple of drops of On Guard and put it in some water and drink it. That's a really good immune booster. And also, too, if you're traveling and you're going to be on an airplane, get your immune support boosted up because you're just in a tube with a whole bunch of recycled air, right? And you know at least 10% of the people on that plane are probably actively sick and coughing and hacking, right? And that air just gets totally recycled. So I'm always like, oh, you know, I'm getting my immune support going, right? I'm predicting the worst when I get on an airplane, so my immune system's ready for the assault.
Agreed. And a couple questions. Can you take immune supplements with food?
Yep, totally fine.
You sure can. Do herbs contraindicate each other, like oregano and echinacea? Any ones we should
I
take
think you're
together?
okay.
Typically, yeah, I was going to say typically not. I mean, there's a couple cases where you can't mix medications with certain herbs, but even that is not too big of a deal. Look up drugs.com and you can type in your pharmaceuticals and you can actually compare it with
That's cool.
herbs,
And then also,
which is
just got to be careful. The big contraindications tend to be ones that affect blood thinning, like ginger's a natural blood thinner. And like if you're going in for a surgery, they're going to want you to be off blood thinners. So that would include like ginkgo or ginger or fish oil. So you just have to be very wary of if you're going in for a surgery, you just have to look up and make sure a lot of the herbs that you're doing aren't having blood thinning effects because you don't want to be cut open and then bleed more. That's not good.
Yep. Cool. You want to hit that question about
just
the
bought some
broccoli sprouts?
seeds to make my own sprouts. Thoughts on the sulforaphane and the buzz about Rhonda Patrick for detox, immunity, and general health. I think you're referring to Rhonda Patrick. I think she was on the Joe Rogan show just a little while back. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those cruciferous vegetables, they're great. There's not a lot of refined sugar and such, so it's not hurting your immune system. There's a whole bunch of added nutrients for detoxification, which are great. A lot of antioxidants, which are great. Run those detox pathways better. So I think there's a lot of good things about it. Again, I would need to know a little bit more about detox, immunity, because there's a lot of things that we use for detox and for immune health and gut health that we mentioned. And again, it's not going to all hinge upon broccoli or cruciferous vegetables. That's maybe one small component, a lifestyle component too. So I wouldn't hang my hat on all that. Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Yeah, I would say it's helpful. I've done my own sprouts too. I've actually purchased some sprouting equipment. I've done it myself. I know Mercola talks about, he does sunflower sprouts and stuff. So yeah, is it a needle mover? I mean, maybe. It's maybe 5% of the equation. Could it help? For sure. It's not going to hurt you, and you're getting a lot more bang for your buck out of sprouts as opposed to
and again,
broccoli.
Charletto asks, should you take biofilm disruptors and antimicrobial herbs at the same time? In my supplement protocols, we always have ginger tea as an option that I push and suggest because ginger is highly effective at disrupting biofilm. So I'm a huge fan of adding in good quality ginger tea. And then Riley says any supplements for sulforaphane or broccoli sprouts. Typically, I would just look for a really good organic ground up powder substitute. And then you just take a couple scoops of it and throw it in your shake. So I would look for a really good organic substitute. I know we have one that we use that's a special order called Paleo Greens. That's one that we use. If you needed that as a special order, you could email the office and we could provide an invoice for you. But that's one that we use. We look for organic. We want to make sure we're not throwing a whole bunch of concentrated pesticides and then, a wide array of green vegetables that we like to.
Yeah, there's a patented version called
Okay, that's a different one.
Rapathanin, and it's like an 8% sulforaphane, and there's a couple different professional healthcare companies. You'd have to get it through a practitioner, but there's some out there that are an extracted broccoli sprout with, I think it's, let me tell you what it is. One capsule, you get the equivalent of 500 grams of fresh broccoli or 100 grams of sprouts. So, I mean, this puts sprouts to shame, to be honest, because of the concentration. I'll send this to you too, Justin, in the chat here.
Love it.
Well, I think that's all the questions.
We hit everything up.
Probably
I just want people to have the big picture is get your immune system looked at and supported. 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. So making sure your digestion good, you're infection free, and you're not adding in nutrients or you're not adding in toxins or excess sugar that's going to shut down your immune system. And then, of course, the sleep. And then from there, that's the big picture. Short term, we can always add in some of these natural herbal medicines that have been around for thousands of years to really get your immune system upregulated. And again, take a look at my article, What to Do When You Get Sick, Part 1 and 2. There's some great options there.
Yeah, make sure you're not too stressed, too. Make sure you're not overworking. If you're working 60 hours a week, I don't care how many supplements you take, it's not gonna counteract it. You can't out-supplement your way out of a bad lifestyle, so make sure that's addressed. And if you've got bad people, get rid of them. If you've got a bad job, try to change it. There's...
Totally. And one thing you can do too is get one of these apps. Like here's one called Calm, there's another one called Headspace. Every couple of hours when you get stressed, do a 2 to 3 minute meditation. All right, maybe 5 if you got 5. Simple. Yeah. Like after I end this call, I'm going to go do a quick 5-minute meditation, and then I'll get back into generating maybe another video after that and seeing patients in the afternoon. So the more stressed you are, kind of leverage some of the technology that's out there to help get your parasympathetics more activated. Evan, great chatting with you.
Said.
Again, we talked about a lot of supplements. Take a look at some of the suggestions that we made in the reference section, and also give you some ideas if you're out abroad and you can kind of look at things. That gives you a good palette to choose from.
If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe on Justin's channel. Subscribe.
Hit the bell too. Right now, YouTube's not giving people a lot of notifications. Hit the bell, and then you have a higher likelihood of getting notified. To change the algorithm.
Yeah, the algorithm has changed.
Crush that bell, and then you'll get all these great little tidbits as we drop them up. Evan, you take care.
All right, man. Bye, everyone. Take care. See ya.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com.